Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Record Express. I'm digital media editor Warren Frey, and with me again is...
I am staff writer Russell Hixson for the Journal of Commerce, broadcasting not live from East Vancouver in the Inferno.
Oh, and right here in downtown Vancouver, it's equally infurnish. We're dainty, but as you all know, there's a heat dome and it's affecting us very badly. And because of audio considerations, I don't have my fan on, and I'm sure you don't either. So we're gonna make this short and sweet.
Yes.
So why don't you update us on what's going on this week, Russ?
Yeah, so I got two kind of interesting things going on. The first is I'll hopefully be chatting with Alberta's representative to the United States. And they recently gave a speech at an event. And they were talking about kind of ways that Alberta's economy can thrive post Keystone. So I'm going to get some information there and how, we can go forward with our relationship with the United States. Because I think a lot of people were very frustrated with the uncertainty of the situation. From administration to administration, there can be such wild policy swings. And that makes it difficult to have like a long-term trade relationship with our neighbors because you don't know what's going to happen. There's not a lot of consistency sometimes when the administration changes and the government kind of shifts its policy position.
And added to that, Jason Kenney was not exactly thrilled about Keystone getting shut down. So I'm sure that kind of puts the envoy in a bit of a tenuous position, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose so. But apparently they have a lot of ideas on how Alberta can go forward and a lot of different strategies. So I'm going to be writing about that. So if you want to hear about their thoughts,
okay,
I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best to pronounce their name. Here it goes. It's James Rajotte. It's R-A. What?
I think it's Rajotte, but I could be wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, that I don't know. I haven't heard it out loud, but it's Rajotte. So it's something. It's spelled. We'll just call him James R.
Sounds good.
I'm trying to set up a chat with him, but I also have his speech that I'm going to be listening to, and I'm going to be writing something up.
All right, great. And what else is going on?
Yeah, I'm going to be trying to chat with a company called TransPod. And they are a high-speed transportation company that uses like solar electricity, renewable electricity, and like low-pressure pod systems to do 1,000-kilometer-an-hour transport on the ground between
Hyperloop, right? More or less.
Yeah, exactly. So it's their version of a Hyperloop technology, and they are proposing putting a TransPod system between Calgary and Edmonton with a stop in Red Deer. That would go 1,000 kilometers an hour, and it would cost you about $90.
So you'd basically be able to. You could live in one of the other cities if you wanted to commute every day.
Yeah, you could commute because it's about 300 kilometers between the two. So it would take. They say it would take you about like an hour, I think.
That's lunacy. I can't wrap my head around that.
I know. Well, I'm sorry, this is Warren Stark's secret. You are from Edmonton.
I am from Edmonton, and you do occasionally drive down to Calgary, and it didn't seem like a big deal because it was only 3 hours. But thinking of doing it in an hour, including getting to the train station or Hyperpod station or whatever, it just seems surreal.
Yeah, and they just came out with a big feasibility study that they believe is a strong strongly supports this idea for the Alberta economy and for travelers. Many people go back and forth between those two major cities all year, and to give them an option that would be cleaner and cheaper than air travel with like a comparable time, they think is worth it. So I'm hopefully going to be chatting with them, and I'm going to be going through their feasibility study and giving some more details about how their system works. I'm not totally familiar with it, but man, it goes fast, and it uses kind of some pressurized tube system to achieve this.
Yeah, from what I can tell, it's kind of old technology adapted to an entirely new use. Like it's like the old pneumatic tube systems from the 1800s, but designed for like people to be inside, as opposed to like sending your mail throughout a building.
Sure, and they're also the company that's doing this is based in Canada, which I think is cool as well. They're from Toronto. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Sounds good. And next up, we've got news from the East. Don Wall is currently writing about a plan for an esports stadium in Toronto. He found that Toronto-based Overactive Media has significantly revamped its esports venue project proposed for Toronto's Exhibition Place, and OAM now feels confident it will get an easier ride from the city's planning staff. It seems the original plan for the venue was too exciting for Toronto. In March, the city's design review panel gave a collective thumbs down to the first iteration of the OEM proposal, which calls for a 7,000-seat esports and performance venue on a footprint of 350,000 square feet, along with a hotel tower. Minutes of the meeting taken by the city staff found that, quote, many members felt the scale of the event space was overwhelming and bulky, and various members thought the clamshell shape was exacerbating that feeling. The ultramodern design from renowned entertainment center architect Populus was called, quote, too exciting and large for the site, and, quote, the panel advised the proposal felt like an object being dropped onto the site. Daily Commercial News staff writer Angela Gismondi attended an online panel discussion on the post-pandemic office space situation featuring architects and leaders in the development and real estate space. Panelists agree that flexibility is going to be key in terms of design and accommodating employees who will likely have varying levels of comfort returning to the office and working with others. They also agreed there's a lot of uncertainty about the future of office space and what the full impact of the pandemic will be. Angela also covered the Toronto Community Benefit Network's 2021 annual general meeting, at which the 2020 community benefits changers were announced. The event also featured keynote speaker Denise Campbell, Executive Director of Social Development for the City of Toronto, and a panel discussion with Kelly Hagson, Vice President of Community Relations and Communications at Metrolinx, and Anders Persson, who's the Deputy Project Director at Mosaic Transit Group, and Hugh Kerr, Vice President of Asset Management at Ellis Don. Stay tuned for more on that story. If you'd like to hear more of TCR Express or our Friday podcast, you can check us out at Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Spotify, or at the Daily Commercial News and Journal of Commerce websites. Thanks for listening, everyone.